Okay, so we have already observed how to create a tool and how to attach it to an agent and how to call it also. Let's try to understand how can we improvise this tool, how to make it in a better way. Let's go back to where the tool is defined. So this is where I have my tool. There are a few things that I have to mention here. First thing is this type hint is extremely important. So the data type hints about the parameters and the data type hints about the return structure. They have to be very, very clearly mentioned. Along with that, the parameter variable names, the function name is also very important. It should be very much self-explanatory. Okay. Next important thing is docstring. This one. Usually we in Python, it's a very good practice to have a docstring for all of your functions, explaining what arguments will it take, what will it return, what is the description about the function. It's a common practice that you'll find in many different places. If you hover here, okay, this doesn't have it, I guess. But usually for every for majority of the Python functions, all the built-in functions, you can see a docstring is clearly written. And if you hover over the particular function name, you can see the docstring also. For this markdown function, this is the docstring. Create a display object given raw data, and these are the parameters that it will take. For the display, you can see this is the description, these are the parameters that it will take. And this is the return type. So you can understand that these drop strings are very much important. C prints the value to a stream or to system.standard output by default. It will take these parameters, separator, end, file, flush. So we need to indicate the docstring very carefully. Next thing is, I'm returning this data as it is, but along with that data, there are a few other things which I have to capture. For example, the time at which I'm calling this function is also very important. I don't have date time. Let me import it. Okay. I'm importing date time from datetime.utc now. I'm taking it and I'm putting it in a string. The way it will look like is okay. So this has the date and the time as well. And this is UTC now, which is Universal Standard Time. So I'm taking the something like this will be generated and it will be stored inside of this called at variable. Next, we also have to capture which agent is responsible for calling this particular tool. To do that, I'll store it in a variable called as agent. The name of the agent is travel agent, right? Whatever we are using here, I'll pass the same thing here. Next, perhaps the second most important thing, which is the input parameters. What are the different input parameters that I'm passing? Just city name. The same city name, I'll capture it in a dictionary. These three should be passed along with the results. So I'll store the results here. Now let's go ahead and return a dictionary properly with all these different key value pairs. Called it agent, input params, and result. And you can see weather information plus metadata is what I'm returning. Called that agent, input parameters, and results. Okay. This is one of the way in which you can improve the quality of your tool outputs. What are they? First, naming convention should be, nomenclature should be properly followed, where the function name and the parameters name should be self-explanatory. Second thing is type hint are extremely important. The return data type and the parameters data type is very, very important. You need to give them properly. Sometimes if you have an optional parameter, then you have to import optional from the typing library. You need to have a subtle understanding of the typing library also. You can import it, you can import optional, you can import any. Yeah. And there are many other things that you can keep on importing. So depending upon your situation, you have to import the necessary ones, and then you have to pass them in the data type hint. The next one is the doc string. The more clear your doc string is, the better your agent is going to function. So I need to write down the description about the function, what arguments will it take, what will it return, and in the description part, if you write down in detail how exactly am I getting this information, it is going to be much more helpful. So here I've given an example, current weather information for a given city using Open Weather Map API. Right now, I'm not using it, but let's assume that in the actual function, I'm using this API along with this API key, and I'm able to return the output. That is why I've added this part. If API key matches, only then we are going to return. So these are the different things that you can implement to make your tool to be more robust. The one thing that I do have to address here is the agent. Why do we have to capture the name of the agent in the output? This will be explained in the very last module, the common problems part. But so far, we've already created an agent, we have created tools, we have attached tools, and we have seen how to create a proper tool also. But one thing that is still pending is this API key. It is a global variable. This is a dummy one, of course. But if I go to Open Weather API, you will be paying for that API key. So let's say if I am a person who has my own API key, I should be able to use it, and whatever the n number of times that I'm using that key, I should be charged. But outside of the environment, nobody else apart from me should be charged for my API key. So which means this API key should be unique for my tool calling. So whenever I am calling the tool, I should use my API key. When my colleague is calling it, the agent has to use their API key. So it should not be one common key for everybody, right? So to handle that situation, we will use something called as context wrapper. So in the next video, we are going to cover what is context wrapper and how can we use it. See you there. Thank you so much for watching.